I just calculated, and I've spent over 100 hours studying the smartest and the fastest growing e-commerce brands like Dr. Squatch, Ridge, Olipop, and a stupid ton more. I did this because I wanted to find out what these brands are doing so differently that have allowed them to scale so fast. And I did find one thing that they take very seriously that not many other e-commerce brands do that has had a huge part of helping their brand scale profitably. To put simply, they're just ahead of the curve. And what they've understood is that ads are getting more expensive than ever, and it's getting more expensive to drive website traffic. And then the site traffic that they do get isn't buying like they used to. The customer is a lot more careful with their money. They don't have stimulus checks of 2020 anymore. And there are thousands of other brands popping up every single day that the customer could leave your site and then go check out. So it's getting more expensive to drive site traffic, and then that site traffic is converting less, resulting in a lot of brands struggling to scale at a profit. So there needs to be some mechanism to get website traffic and educate them on why they should go with your brand over one of the other thousands of competitors, and get them to purchase with content for cheap. Because people aren't just buying the first time they visit your website. And that mechanism to capture your website traffic is with email pop-up forms. And it sounds stupid, something as simple as an email pop-up, which you probably just used a template and put up on your website. But I've seen over 15 different pop-up form variations from Dr. Squatch in just the last month. So they're taking it pretty serious. And 95% of the brands I audit completely F this up by either not having a pop-up form or just having a low performing pop-up and living with it. This results again in your expensive ad traffic going to your website, leaving, and then never coming back again. Or you have to reel them back in by sending them more ads and more ads, which are just way more expensive than they need to be. Meanwhile, these smart e-commerce brands are maximizing the amount of people they can get email addresses from so that they can send them emails for a fraction of pennies to send them content on what happens to be the most used mode of communication on the planet, which is email. Pretty convenient, yeah? And just to show you how big of an impact this can be, here's a client example. You can see the revenue going from $7,000 per month to $25,000 a month. And all we did for this brand was improve their pop-up form. There was no extra ad spend. We took the pop-up form submission rate from 2.5% to 8.75%, which is a 3.5x. And look at that. They increased their revenue by 3.5x. Same site traffic, same AOV, same welcome flow, but just a different pop-up form, getting more people to see that welcome flow, which was performing really well. So today I'm going to show you how to optimize your email pop-ups and get people to buy at a higher rate without having to spend any more on ads. Okay, so first I want to be clear on the KPI and the performance that we want on our pop-up forms. And that ideally is a 10% opt-in rate on your pop-ups, meaning 10% of unique website visitors that you have will convert into subscribers. So if you bring in 50,000 unique visitors a month, then you can expect with a 10% converting pop-up form to bring in 5,000 email subscribers. And to prove this is possible, here are a couple clients over the past 30 days that we've implemented these forms for. You can see all the conversion rates on the left side. And then this last one, A/B test, showing their old form at 7% and some of the tests that we set up. So how do we do this? Let's get into it. Step 1, we need to start with a strong offer. Your offer is everything. Not quite everything, that was kind of dramatic, but it's very important. No one's just gonna join an email list for exclusive information or weekly updates. No, this isn't a charity. People aren't just gonna willy-nilly throw around their email address. They need something valuable in return. I've tested doing like free guides or like PDF documents versus like discounts and doing like free gifts. In terms of revenue and profit, discounts and free gifts just consistently outperform free guides. You can execute a free guide funnel, but I have not had a test where it performed better than just giving a simple discount. So I recommend just use a discount and don't try to get too fancy. You don't need any crazy discount, 10%, 20%, those are fine. And I recommend if you have an AOV of above $100, use a $1 off discount. And if your AOV is below $100, do a % off discount. If your average order is $500 and you do a 10% discount with your first order, then really what you're giving is $50 off. And if I went up to you and was like, hey, here's 10% off, versus if I went up to you and was like, hey, here's a $50 bill, probably the $50 bill would sound better. So typically with brands that have a higher AOV, we want our offer to be dollars off. If your AOV is $50 and we're giving 10% off. Usually 10% off sounds better than like $5 off. What does work really, really good as well is a free gift with purchase. So something like, hey, get a free sample pack on your first order. Or hey, get an extra blank t-shirt if you place an order above $100. Those work great. And just a pro tip, try a mystery discount. People just love mysteries, they love the curiosity, and they will sign up with their email just to see what the discount is. And then you can educate them into a purchase and get them to convert down the line. Here's an example. You can see the form submit rate on the right side, 7.3% submit rate for the top one, which was just saying, hey, sign up for your email for 10% off, versus the bottom one where we said, hey, sign up with your email for a mystery discount. A lot more people signed up for the mystery discount, literally 2 times more people. And what did we get? Double the list growth. Run that for 2 years and we probably have double the email revenue as well. More people on your email list, more revenue. So make sure you nail your offer, make sure it's clear, and then you'll be good to move on to the next step. Step 2, we want to choose our pop-up type. So what kind of a form do we want to run? So there are really only 3 options that you need to choose from. We have the classic, the micro commit, and the quiz pop-up. The classic is just the typical sort of like, hey, 10% off, enter your email. And we just ask that on the first step, which you can see here. And when somebody signs up, we say, welcome in, keep shopping. Usually this is the lowest performer, just because this is what everybody does, the customer's used to it, and there's nothing interactive about it. Which then brings us to the next one, which is the micro commit, which is an added step for the customer, where first we ask them, hey, do you want 10% off? And there's just a yes or no button. After somebody clicks yes, then the email pops up and it's like, okay, enter your email. Seems so counterintuitive that adding an extra step increases the pop-up conversion rates, but for some reason it just does. There's a psychological trigger in humans where if you start doing something, you're much more likely to follow through. And so if we just put a simple form in their face where it's just like, hey, do you want a discount? Yes or no? They're like, yes, I do. And they don't know that an email step is coming up next. So they just say, yes, I want this discount. They click it, and then we ask for the email. For some reason, psychologically in humans, once we start doing something, it's like, I already started with this. I might as well just enter my email. And then even after that, you could be finished signing up with SMS as like the step after that. And they're like, I already entered my email. I'm so close to getting the discount, might as well put in my phone number. And then this brings up the last one, which is similar to the micro commit, and that is the quiz. The quiz is the same sort of deal where we're not asking for the email right off the bat, we're asking the customer to answer a question or a quiz. Like this example for a brand, which is like baby apparel. And we ask like, are you a parent? Are you buying a gift? Or are you expecting a baby? Now this is so much more interactive for the customer. They feel like it's custom to them, and not a lot of brands are doing this, and it just converts like crazy. The customer feels like they earned their discount, and so they opt in at a much higher rate. So after they answer that quiz question, then it's the same sort of micro commit deal where it's like, awesome, you have your discount, just give us your email. It works like a charm, and we get data from the customer, which we can then send them custom information for, which is a little bit advanced, but it's something that you absolutely could do. So my favorite is doing the quiz. As far as the best performing, the quiz can be harder to execute if you don't know like all the best practices, but it does convert the best. And then the micro commit is usually next, and then just straight to email. But test them all, every audience is different. Okay, so we know what form type we're going to use. Now let's actually put this into practice with what are the best practices? What do you need to know when you're building your form? First, we want to make sure we have minimal text, as little as possible. The more text we put, the more overwhelmed the customer is going to be, and the more they're going to want to leave. Make sure your headline, just like, do you want 10% off or take a mystery discount? It's at maximum 6 words, ideally 4 to 6. And try not to use any other text. You can use a little subtext if you need to, like on a quiz. We want to remove everything. Every extra word you add will increase your churn. Just keep it dead simple, just like, here's 10% off. And then next, for your call to actions, you don't want to say continue. If I have a pop-up that says take 10% off and it has an email field and then it says continue, when I see that, I know, shoot, continue, that means I'm not done. I'm gonna have to enter my phone number. I'm just gonna leave now. I don't want to give these guys my number. We want our call to actions to just say claim now, activate discount, anything like that. We want to make sure the barrier to entry seems super low for the customer. And then third, super important that I see a lot of brands mess up is don't ask for more than 1 input per step. On the same form, we don't want to ask for somebody's email and phone number at the same time. When the customer sees that, that looks like a lot of work, rather than separating things and just having email first and then SMS a step after. It's the same thing about like asking for somebody's first name. Never do that. It's added work for the customer. It's going to increase the churn. Test this for yourself. Have a pop-up form with like first name and email versus just one that says email. I guarantee the email will perform 25 to 50% better and make you more money than the extra money you get from somebody by having their first name. It's pretty bullshit. Having somebody's first name in a subject line, it's not going to increase your revenue 25 to 50%. So don't do it. 1 input per step. And then 4, just do as simple of a design as possible. Don't do too much. Don't distract. don't have images. You can execute maybe like one simple image, but I like my forms to be as simple as possible, nothing crazy. We want our message to just be focused on the offer. 10% off. Anything that isn't on that will distract. Tip number 5, if you want to be aggressive, remove the X in the top right corner of your pop-up forms. Why? Because when somebody sees a pop-up form, immediately they have been trained to have their thumb already start moving to the top right corner. We don't want to give people that option because they aren't even going to read our form. Right when they see a pop-up, their thumb is moving to the top right corner. So we want to remove that and put the close button somewhere else in the form, like at the bottom under the submit button. And that ties into the last tip here, is using a no thanks close form button. Instead of having that X in the top right corner, have a button below that says no thanks, or if you want to be even more aggressive, you say no thanks, I'll pay at full price. Because then we're forcing somebody to close out by saying, no, I will give away the free money that you're giving me. It's a little bit more aggressive, but it works every single time. Now I want to walk through a couple of bad examples so you know kind of like what to avoid. First, we have this one where the offer just doesn't look compelling. It says 5% off, and it's really hard to read the offer. There's just a lot of words here. But the main thing is the offer. 5% off, nobody wants that. But this brand's average order value was $1,000. What sounds better, 5% off or $50 off? We want to make it clear that it's $50 off, so I would have changed the offer to that. And then coming up on this next one, it's kind of blurry, but wholly input fields. How many people are actually going to fill this out? Nobody. There's just a lot going on. There's so much for the customer. We want to remove all that. Just ask for somebody's email. And then we have this one right here, combination of different things. For one, the X in the top right corner is very easy to see, so people are just going to automatically close out. There's a lot of words, like 3 paragraphs of information, and we're asking for somebody's first name and their email, which we don't want to do that. That's too much work. And then we also put our social media on the pop-up. Like, what is that? Crazy. Then we have this one, way too many words. There's just a lot of stuff. People are brain dead when they're going to their website. They don't want all this stuff that they have to read. I'd just say something like, get a free workout class sent to you. Or not workout class, but a free business class or whatever. And then this last one here, there's a lot of copy, and I bet you didn't even realize that there's a discount in there. The 10% off is so buried. So somebody looks at this pop-up and then they're automatically closing it out. What's in it for them? We need to make sure our offer is very clear. So those are some bad examples. Hopefully that helped you kind of like see my thought process and what works. And then that list of best practices, apply those to your forms. So step 4, now let's actually create these forms. There are really only 2 options in my mind for creating these forms. And the first option is just on Klaviyo or whatever email sending platform that you use, which is free and can work great. And we do that for a lot of our clients. And we work with over 7 and 8 figure e-commerce brands. However, you are limited on some stuff. If you can, and you're on Shopify, I would recommend ollialearn.com. It's an outside pop-up platform that we use for roughly half of our clients right now. It is the best pop-up form platform out there. We consistently have over 10% opt-in rates, and their team is killer. And if you say that I sent you, just go to their website and you'll get 20% off just by mentioning me. I'll walk through creation of forms on both of them so you can check them out in the different differences. Okay, so I have here just a mock Klaviyo, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create this form. I'm just gonna do for mobile. I like to separate my forms, have a mobile one and a desktop one, make sure that they're both optimized for the device. But with mobile, I usually just like to start with this template right here once you go into sign up forms, and then we can kind of just start with this. So if we go over here and then click mobile, this is like the base option that they give us. So right here, we could just edit right here on this form and do a variation that goes straight to email. But I want to set up a micro commit and then also a quiz so I can show you guys how to build that inside of Klaviyo. So super easy. We have these 2 steps, the email opt-in and the SMS. I'm just going to clone this email one and then name this that first step, the micro commit. We clone it and then it's going to pop up here and then we just drag it to be that first step. And all we want to do is remove this email input field here, and then right here, this is our micro commit. So we can just say, do you want 10% off? And then we can remove any text here that we want and just have this be like a yes, please. And then we're going to add another button down here. Just edit the text. Yes, please. And then to add a no thanks button down here, we're just going to add a block, drag in a button. Then on this button, we want the action up here to be close form. And then we just say no thanks. And if you want to be more aggressive, you could say something like, I'd rather pay at full price. So then the customer has to physically say, no, I'm paying at full price. And to get even more aggressive, we can remove this X in the corner by changing the actual, like the line right here. We can just make the opacity clear. So now it's completely clear and people are forced to say, yes, please, or no, thanks, I'll pay at full price. And if we want to do that here, even on this button, we can change the background to be clear as well, and then make the text black so that we can actually see it. And then I always like to add a logo up above here just to brand it. Change the fonts to be my brand's fonts. And then boom, this is a fire step right here. Easy micro commit, just do you want 10% off? Yes, please, or no thanks. Then this next step, just adjust the branding. Change the copy to something like you've got 10% off, and then put the image back in here. And then boom, but also very important, we have this X hidden. So every single step, we need to add this button down here so that somebody isn't absolutely locked in. And then boom, we are all set here. I just want to change this call to action. We don't want to say continue because somebody knows they're going to have to enter their SMS information. So I would say something like claim now. Boom, there's the micro commit, the email opt-in, and then I won't do SMS, but super simple. You can just do whatever you want there. I won't update the branding just for saving time, but boom, there's an easy micro commit form right there. Now, what if we wanted to do a quiz-based pop-up where we had multiple options and it's like, hey, you've got this discount, tell us what problem you're trying to solve, and then give somebody options so that we can get data from the customer. And that's actually very, very easy as well. So all we want to do is add more buttons just right next to this and then change the answers to be different things. So let's say I was a fashion brand and I wanted to get data on if my customer was a male or a female. Then I would say something like, you've got 10% off. We want to say you've got because psychologically it tells somebody you already have this discount, and if they deny it, they don't want to lose something. Psychologically, it just works better. So I'd say you've got 10% off, and then I would drag in a text box below with instructions for the quiz. I'd say something like, just tell us what you're shopping for, and then adjust the branding font. So boom, we've added this little line here. You can adjust it, change the size or whatever you want. I won't be super picky. And then we just want to adjust these to be the same stylings, and then this one to say male and the other to say female. And then boom, just like that, you've got this discount to claim it. Tell us what you're shopping for, male and female. But we also want to have in Klaviyo the data on what they say. So what you can do right here is submit the hidden fields, and then we can add a property for gender. If they click this, then it's going to be male, and if they click this, it's going to be female. So what we do is we can just add a property. You might already have it in your Klaviyo, but if not, you can just create gender right here and then enter male. And then boom, it will create it once somebody enters. Super key also, this said close form. We just want it to be submit form, just like the other. Add the property and set the value as female. And then boom, we have a fully functioning quiz pop-up right here, male, female, and you can split your flows accordingly. People can still close out if they want to, and then we have the email opt-in and then SMS right here. If you want, you could also change this to you've got a mystery discount, adjust the sizing, make it all on one line. This is how you can do everything just right inside of Klaviyo. And now I'm going to show you how to do pop-ups on the other platform, all you learn right here, which again, if you say that I sent you, you get 20% off. So all you have to do, I just have a demo store right here. It's added as a Shopify app, and so you just have to go through their app just inside of Shopify. It is going to load up like this, and then we can create our forms. So I'd want to go over here to campaigns, yada yada yada, skip the tour, and here I have just like mock-up stuff. But if I want to create a new pop-up, I'm just going to click create. Can name this test YouTube. You can choose what pages you want it to show on. I'll just say all pages. I'll do all devices as well. This is all good. Go to continue. And then what we are going to do is we're going to follow these steps to create our pop-up. So for the first step, like the little corner of the screen pop-up, we're gonna put it in the bottom left corner. The first step, let's do a poll question, just like we did, but you can see yes, no, a micro commitment here as well. We're just gonna do email, and then if you wanna do phone, you can as well. Logo, I'm just gonna upload my logo. uploaded my logo there. Go to next. The reward, we can do whatever is set up in your account, 20% off. And then you can have like different logic on the form here, like lessons, so it'll walk you through this, but if you want like people to answer multiple questions and get rewarded for it, you can do that, but I'm just going to do none for now for simplicity. And then we get all sorts of different test layouts right here that they let us do with like sort of templates, super simple. So all of these are very clean for simplicity. I'm just going to go with this one. Click finish, and then right here, this is where you can actually go into the editor, and it's definitely, you can tell, a lot more advanced than the one inside of Klaviyo. So right here, I'd say you've got whatever discount that you need. You can edit over here, change this to say 10% off. Then you can change this to claim your discount, tell us what you're shopping for, and then the answer, male, for this one, female. It's super easy to do, and they also can build anything for you. Their team's awesome. They'll respond to you and get all these initial forms built out. You can even preview it just right here. You can also replay the animation, super easy, and then you can see the different steps right here. So it's very simple. Start out with templates and then add whatever, anything else you want. And after people sign up, of course, you want a banging email welcome flow. You want to have at least 4 to 6 emails educating the customer about your brand and getting them to claim their discount and actually convert. So way down on my YouTube right here, we have an email welcome flow, full guide right here, 45 minutes if you want to learn like the exact welcome flow that we often use for clients. Super helpful, definitely recommend it. And that's it. That is what the smart e-commerce brands are focusing on in 2025 to scale their brand profitably. And hopefully now, after watching this video, you have a shit ton of people entering your email list for no extra cost, and you can get them to convert on the low. Thank you so much for watching this video. Just click here if you want to watch the welcome flow video that I just showed you. Let me know if you have any videos you want me to cover next, and I will see you in the next one.